One of my weaknesses in genre film happens to be horror stuff, just because it's a genre I never really got into, but I'm trying to do better. So I just downloaded Shudder, and I'm gonna try watching more new movies that come out from there. And there was a new movie on Shudder that came out this weekend called Revealer, and I'm like, okay, I'll give it a watch, mainly because I saw Tim Seeley's name was attached, and as somebody who is a comic fan and knows a lot of his work, I was kind of curious to see what he's going to do for a script for this thing. So Revealer came out, and again, I knew very little about this. I had some inclination that there was going to be like a kind of like spiritual and religious idea based into it, but overall I didn't know what to expect. It was pretty interesting. Again, this isn't a big production. And that's something I hope people understand when I give it a certain rating or talk about it in a certain way. You view art based on what it's given. So if you're expecting this to be on the same level as something like The Black Phone or Get Out or Nope, it's not. It's still very interesting though. The concept itself I think is very compelling. It's this stripper who works in kind of like this certain video store that has a peep show, and as she's doing a show, the world kind of ends and a demon rises from the depths of hell and starts terrorizing people for being lustful beings. And she's trapped in this store. This is essentially it's this it's a strip club pretty much, with this religious woman, and they have to work together to survive. And it's an interesting concept. I will give it that. There's a lot of tension you can have with there. It's a very small crew, so you can like, okay, we can actually get in depth with these characters and tell some interesting stories. And I think we do for the most part. Again, this isn't going to be a huge production, so you really need the script and the story to kind of carry the weight for this. And I think it does really good. Like, on paper, I would actually read this script. I would read a novel or a story of this thing, because there's a lot to explore here and a lot to unpack. And as the story progresses, you kind of see that each woman is looking at each other in a certain light when they are the ones who are kind of being the opposite of one another. And I think that's a fascinating idea, a really good switcheroo, if you will. Just seeing these women look at each other in a different light. There's something to explore there. And it was very interesting. The direction is pretty standard. I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with it. It just very felt like this story. And again, there's some really nice just like handheld shots that I think were very enjoyable. The lighting was impressive too, because at the very beginning you see like the one more lustful woman is bathed in like a red glow, and the more religious woman is kind of bathed in like a blue light. And that was a really good choice, because then when they come together, kind of like switches to a more classically purple and pink, like they're working a tangent. I think that's a really smart, creative choice that really made this special in a sense, and that was a really cool thing to see. The music choice is very compelling too. Again, it's set in the 80s, so I'm like, yeah, do your synth stuff. And it really worked. And synth has a great place in horror because it just makes it special and fun. And the actual effects too, they're pretty interesting. I'm not going to say they blew my mind, where I'm like, wow, this is grotesque and weird, but it looks very good for what they're given. There's certain shots where you see like that is completely CG. It looks very good. Better than certain things I've seen recently. I think that's a really cool thing to see. So then you have two main characters. How's the acting going to do? And again, I know what this is, so I'm fine with a little more leeway towards certain interpretations of the story and the characters. The acting was fine. I don't think it was mind-boggling good or, a very nuanced performance, but there was depth there that I think was added. So it was fine. I really didn't have any problems with that. As the story progressed, you could feel it kind of like lingering on to this one story, and I do think the ending was kind of just like abrupt and didn't really have much to serve, but I see what it was going for, and I think that was kind of cool. It is pretty short. It's like under 80 minutes, and you could probably have added a few more minutes in there just to kind of like tie up the ending so it's maybe not as ambiguous. I don't know. There's some stuff in there I think is really brilliant, and this idea itself is very fun. It does feel like a cool concept, and I like seeing that everybody involved enjoyed working on it, because there's a lot of cool stuff in here. It goes into a lot of very compelling and interesting ways. At the same time, it's not like a brand new production where you're like, whoa, this is changing the game. It's just a simple story that takes itself very seriously, which I like to see, that changes the characters' motivations and how they feel about each other throughout the narrative. And it is a satisfying conclusion, if a little bit ham-fisted of a forced ending. I like the production, I like the lighting, I like a lot of it. I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with this film. Again, it's just going to be for a specific audience that I hope can see what it's trying to say as opposed to what it's actually doing. There's some cool stuff in here that made it for an interesting watch. And again, it's very breezy, so if you just want something to throw on for a bit before maybe you have other plans to do, this is a nice story where you can actually just look up from your phone, get some nice moments in there, and really understand the characters and dialogue. Like this script, I really dug. I think it's a great script, and I could definitely see this team, this creative team of everybody involved, doing more stuff. Very interesting. And Revealer, not a bad film. Kind of a cool concept. I would like to see a sequel if there's ever a chance, so that's saying something, I guess. Very fun, very interesting. Kind of cool. Hopefully Shudder can provide me more films to watch. So, Revealer, I am going to give a 6 out of 10. Now, thank you guys for watching this review. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And as always, I will catch you in the next one. Have fun. Stay safe. Good luck.